Hola Unconventionals, I'm Amelia.
And I'm JP.
And we are both expats who work online from Cuenca, Ecuador.
And because of that, we get a lot of questions about how to make money living abroad. Before we jump into the video, we want to give a big shout out to our unconventional producers, Michael and Melissa from Longmont, Colorado. Hola guys, thank you so much for your support.
Yes, thank you so much. We are truly appreciative, and we're appreciative to all of our patrons.
If you're thinking about becoming an expat or you just want to follow our crazy expat adventure here in South America, hit the subscribe button and ring that bell.
Ring the bell.
So you get notified about our upcoming videos. And today's video, we're going to talk about how to make money living abroad. That's a question we get a lot.
We do.
And one of the first things people ask is, can I get a job there?
Well, you can, maybe.
Maybe.
It's not that easy.
Yeah, there are several things you got to think about. The first is local language fluency. You got to be able to speak Spanish if you want a job at a business.
Exactly.
Yeah, because most people, even though in Cuenca there are a lot of English-speaking locals, the majority of people still don't speak English. So the majority of customers only speak Spanish. So you're going to have to be able to interact with customers, clients, vendors, managers, your fellow employees, and they'll all be speaking in Spanish. So there are options also to teach English or your native language in schools here.
Right.
But the pay is like $4 to $5 an hour, which is like $800 a month before taxes.
Yeah, they don't pay. The bottom line is the wages are just going to be lower here because the cost of living is so much lower.
Yeah.
So you have to realize that if you want to get a job in Ecuador, you're going to be paid at Ecuador rates.
Yes. The next thing to think about is the type of visa that you get. Now, there's some visas that allow you to work here, some that require you to work here, and some that prevent you from working here. And this is just Ecuador. Other countries have different laws around their visa types. So we're here on a visa that allows us to work here if we wanted to, but we don't. We choose to work online for companies back in the States.
Right.
The other thing to think about is that if you earn income locally, you also have to pay local taxes. So that means you're going to be filing tax returns in Spanish, which might be a little challenging.
It could be.
You know, you have to have an accountant probably help you with that.
I would recommend that.
So, you know, it's going to cost you more money and then it's more hassle too.
Right.
The last thing under the job category is the low pay. We kind of mentioned this before. The minimum wage in Ecuador, and this is kind of the same throughout Latin America, the minimum wage here is $394 per month. That comes out to $2.46 an hour.
That's a big difference.
That's not a lot of money.
No, it's not a lot of money for anybody. It's not a lot here.
No, it's not here. You definitely could not live on $400 a month before taxes.
No, it'd be,
No, because you have to have insurance. You know,
I don't know how you would do it.
Employer might provide that, but it would be tough to live here on that.
Unless you already have it arranged with your visa, I would not come here thinking you're going to find a high-paying job.
No, nope. Part of that's because of the stiff competition too.
Yeah, there's a lot of people coming here from Venezuela and they need work.
And they speak Spanish fluently.
They do speak Spanish. They're Venezuelan.
So they're going to edge out somebody who doesn't speak Spanish fluently.
Right.
So if your dream of becoming an expat hinges on you finding a job abroad, you might want to think about a plan B, just to be safe.
Yes. It's always a good idea to have a plan B.
Yeah, so if finding a job isn't really realistic, what is? So now we're going to talk about how to make money living abroad. And the very first thing and the easiest thing to do, and what Amelia has done, is work remotely for your current employer.
Yes.
If it's an option. It's not an option for everyone, but it is an option for a lot more people that realize it. If you're an office worker and you do all of your work online, there's a good chance that your boss might go for, you know, the reduced expenses of you not being in the office.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to ask.
It doesn't. Amelia worked about 20% of the time in the office before we left Denver and about 80% at home. So it was kind of easy for her to just say, I need to be 100% virtual. And they said, okay.
Right.
Thankfully.
Yes.
Very thankful for that.
Yes, we are very thankful.
Yeah. And everybody asks what Amelia does. So she manages the CRM systems and what
I manage
manufacturer
scheduling
visits.
And I manage incentives and things like that.
Sales stuff.
But it's all on more the operational side.
Yeah.
So I was able to do all of that remotely. I don't need to have the face-to-face interaction.
Yeah. And I also work online. I do web design, although I'm not really taking on new clients now as our vlog is taking off and it's taking so much of my time. I don't have time for new clients, but I still maintain all of my old client websites. And I get monthly recurring revenue. They pay me to manage their websites. They all have WordPress websites, and I manage those, keep them updated, and make updates for them each month. And that's how I earn my income. If the job that you have now doesn't lend itself to being a remote work, you can search for other jobs on a website called flexjobs.com. And they have all kinds of remote working and alternative working arrangement type jobs. So you can do things, for somebody else that is fine with you being 100% virtual. The next way to make money living abroad is with online gigs.
What do you mean by a gig? I feel like a gig is like a band performance
No.
at the bar.
It's the gig economy, dear.
Oh, okay.
So a gig is basically you're doing a freelance job. It's a finite period or project. You do it and you get paid for it and it's over. The key to gigs is really to convert that into recurring revenue, though, because a lot of times the gigs don't pay very well in and of themselves.
I see.
So
okay.
like web design is a gig, like building a website might be a gig. And that's what I do. I've been building websites for almost 25 years. And we used to make a lot of money doing it, but not so much anymore because of all the low cost labor from countries like India and Pakistan and Russia. It's really hard to compete with them.
Yeah. And the fact that you can build your own website if you wanted to.
Yeah, there are a lot of build your own sites too. So it's a tough business now. And the websites, you can't charge nearly what we used to. So the key in web design is to really get people on board for managed web hosting or social media management, recurring revenue stream.
I see.
So web design's a loss leader.
But you certainly can do the online gigs to make extra money.
Well, yeah, I'm going to get to the ones that are better options. Web
Okay.
design is not a great option for making money online these days.
Okay.
What a really good option is content writing. If you're a good writer, you can write content for websites. There's a website called constantcontent.com. And a few years ago, I wanted to test that out. I submitted a couple of business articles to them, and somebody bought them for $80. And it took me about 4 hours to write them. So that was about $20 an hour that I earned on that.
Yeah, that's good. I'd forgotten you'd done that.
Yeah, so there are other websites like that where you can submit content and people will buy it. And you can also find writing gigs on Fiverr.com. And I'll put links to all of these websites in the blog post, so go check that out. Also, international living. If you move abroad, international living pays $350 up to that amount for articles if they print your articles. So a lot of people submit articles to them and other websites like those about their experiences living abroad, and they make money that way. And social media manager is another type of job that you can do, and that's nice because it's usually a recurring revenue stream. And what you do basically is you manage business social media accounts. And if you're good on social media and you know how to get eyeballs on posts, this is probably a good option for you.
There's a lot of companies out there that are looking for
that need that.
help.
Because it's time consuming and tedious work. And so they don't often have the time or the resources for it, or it might not be in their business, their strike zone.
Right.
So they outsource that to other people to manage for them. And basically you just post stuff to their social media feeds throughout the day. You find articles, memes, etc. And you can find jobs like that on Upwork.com, Upwork. I didn't say that very clearly. Freelancer.com is another one, and Fiverr.com also has jobs for that. A growing need is for video and podcast transcription and translation services. We get a lot of requests for transcriptions on our videos, both in English and in Spanish. Unfortunately, it's too expensive. You guys charge too much. It would cost us about $500 a month to do transcriptions in both English and Spanish. And we just can't afford that.
No, that's not in our budget right now.
But, yes, but there are a lot of large channels and podcasts out there that do have enough money to cover that cost, and they really want to make sure they hit the market for hearing impaired and foreign language speakers. And it's also really helpful for SEO. It gets your videos discovered more and your podcasts if there's a transcription file associated with it, because it makes it easier to index for the search engines.
Cool. That sounds like that might be a fun job.
Yeah, so if you know how to type fast and accurately, that's a really good option.
Yeah.
There's a lot of need for that. And there's a website called rev.com, R-E-V.com, where you can get gigs for doing transcriptions. And Fiverr.com also has transcription and translation jobs.
Wow, Fiverr's got lots.
They have everything. The next one is telemarketing and customer service. Because we have reliable internet, you can use voice over IP like on Magic Jack or Skype. And you can make telemarketing calls or customer service calls from pretty much anywhere in the world as long as you have a good internet connection.
Yes.
And a thick skin. Not something I would want to do, but we actually employed a telemarketer who lived in the Dominican Republic a few years ago to make cold calls for us to get web design leads. And they had lived in Costa Rica for 6 months, but they said it was too rainy for them. So they left.
Heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah, but they lived in Southern California, couldn't afford it. So he and his wife moved to the Dominican Republic, and they do telemarketing from there, and they make a decent living at it there.
Yeah, and you would have never known that they were in another country.
No, you wouldn't.
Never.
Nope, he advertised. I found him on Craigslist, and he just advertised in all the major metros saying that he does telemarketing. And I called him up. He's a good guy, and he was good on the phone.
Yeah.
So, that's an option. You can also teach English online. This is what a lot of our friends here in Cuenca do.
Yeah, we know several people that teach online.
They teach English to Chinese kids in the middle of the night. Actually, it's really early in the morning or late at night.
The hours are a little kooky, but that makes sense because, of course, they're halfway around the world.
Yeah, but that's a really good way. And there's a website called VIPkid.com, and we'll link that in the blog post. And that's what we've heard the best things about. There's several websites that do this, though. And you can make quite a bit, like between $14 and $22 per hour doing this.
Yeah, the salaries are definitely higher for that.
Yep.
You just have to be flexible with your time.
Yeah, you have to be willing to get up early or stay up late.
Right.
All right, so there are lots of other online gig type things that you can do. Just go check some of these websites like Fiverr.com, Freelancer, Upwork, etc. And you can peruse the types of jobs, and there might be something on there that you can do already you didn't even think about charging for.
That's a really good point. I mean, there's no way we could list
Go over
everything. And there's so much that we don't know. So we definitely want to hear from you all and let us know what your ideas are.
Yeah, if you do something different or have a different idea, put that in the comments and we'll add that to the blog post so that other
really
people can think about it for themselves. Yes. All right, so once you get to your expat destination, you might want to consider starting a business. So we know a lot of expats in Cuenca who own their own business.
Yeah, it's really cool. There's such a strong entrepreneurial spirit here.
There really is. It is entrepreneurial spirit among the Ecuadorians and the expats. So here are just a few of the businesses that we know that are owned by expats. So we've got Cuenca Expats Magazine, and we interviewed Ed for that. Ed Lindquist in one of our previous videos. I'll link that up there so you can go watch that if you want to. There's also Cuenca High Life, the Cuenca Dispatch. These are these are magazines / newspapers, online blogs about Cuenca. There's San Sebas Cafe and Namaste India. You don't have to be from America to be an expat. That's owned by Indian expats. Double D's Delights. That's a catering business. They do a lot of desserts and stuff. Bodie Burgers, Daisy's Pet Food, Altissimo Chocolate, Artesana Panaderia. That's owned by some Venezuelan expats who moved here several years ago and started their bakery. And we love their bread. VIP Home Healthcare of Cuenca, and I'm going to link that up there too, so you can go watch the video that we did interviewing them about their home healthcare business that they started. Vino and Van Gogh is like a canvas and cocktails business that's here in Ecuador, in Cuenca, and that's very popular with the expats.
It is.
And then Madre Tierra and Villa de los Sueños are resorts that are owned by expats.
Yeah, there's a wide variety of expat businesses out here. Like the Tribal Fusion House, where I take my belly dance
Tribal
lessons.
Fusion House. Julio is a Chilean expat.
That's right. That is really, really cool. I love it.
It is, yeah. So we also know massage therapists, people that do Reiki, yoga. I mean, you name it, there's people here doing it.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's how they earn their money. Also blogging and vlogging. We know other bloggers and vloggers who make money doing this.
Yes, we do. It's not just us.
It's not just us. I know. So there's lots and lots of things that you can do to start a business living abroad. A lot of things we take for granted back in the States or in Europe. Sometimes some of those things just aren't available here, and there's a market for it. They just haven't made it here yet.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's a lot of businesses already started by expats, but there's a lot more opportunity for that. Oh, I forgot Jungle Gym.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many.
There's a lot.
I don't have to keep this list updated. I've got this whole list on our blog, so if you want to go research these companies, you can. Once you have all of this stuff in your head, then you got to decide what you want to do.
That can be the hardest part, but that is the most important thing. Don't get analysis paralysis.
No, you got to just try stuff.
You do.
The best piece of advice I can give you on this is do what you already know.
Yeah, unless you have a lot of time and you want to learn something new and you're not really worried about making money. Agreed.
Yeah, but the whole point of this is making money living abroad.
Stick within your skill set.
The whole point of this, though, is making money living abroad.
Right.
So if you're not interested in making money, why are you watching this video? Do what you already know, because if you want to make money at it tomorrow, you needed to start several years ago. So it could be a hobby or your career. It doesn't have to be, the job you've always done. It could be a hobby that you enjoy doing, like photography.
Right.
If you're good at it, if people ask you for advice about it, you can probably start a business or find gigs doing that. So, but you need to know what you're doing already. Don't come here expecting to learn a new skill or something. Like if you can't type, don't worry about applying for transcription jobs. That's a good point. If you're a hunt and pecker like this,
it would be very painful for you.
The transcription's probably not the ideal thing. Neither is web design. There's lots of typing in web design. Do what you already know how to do. And then you need to identify if there's a demand for what you want to do. Not a need. There's a difference between a need and a demand.
Right.
The demand is people are willing to part with their money for the service or the product. A need is there might be a need for something, like there's a need for more neutering services here in Ecuador, but there's a cultural bias against removing the manlyhood from the male dogs. So there's not much of a need for it. There's a big need for it, but there's no demand for it. Nobody wants to pay for it. So there are neutering services, but almost all of them are volunteer.
Yeah, because they're very low cost.
Yeah, usually free or very low cost. So that's the difference between a need and a demand. There's a need for that, but no demand for it. So pick something that people are willing to pay for. And then determine if you have what it takes to do, like, especially your own business. It's not for everyone.
Working remotely is not for everyone.
It's not.
I've been doing this for a long time. When I was in regional sales, I had a home office. But I know a lot of people that are not comfortable unless they have more of a structured work environment.
You also need to consider multiple streams of income as an option.
Yeah, we think about this a lot because there's always uncertainty and it's a little scary to have all your eggs in one basket. Having lost my job before, I know what that's like.
Yeah,
when suddenly your only stream of income is gone.
Yeah, so we have Amelia's job, we have my web design clients, and we also have our Patreon that's helping us survive and earn a living here. And we also know people who teach English online and they do yoga instruction or fitness training. They write articles. I mean, there's
all sorts
a lot of people do multiple things here.
There's all sorts of things you can do to, make a little bit here, a little bit there. But when you add it all up, you're making a really nice living.
Yeah. And if one of them goes away, you're not destitute.
Right. And you can try a couple different things and figure out what's the best fit. Like it's funny how things work out. You may realize, well, I need to go in this direction when I was thinking I wanted to go in that direction. So it certainly cannot hurt to start things off with multiple streams of income.
And the final thing we want to talk about is that we want to encourage you to start before you leave home.
Most definitely. You're going to have so many other things to consider moving to another country. There's going to be the language, getting your visas, getting all settled in, learning the culture, just learning your way around a new city, a new country, everything. So don't make it even more difficult for yourself by deciding to start a new business right then and there on top of it. You want some stability, or you're going to go crazy.
Or to start getting online work. I mean, it's great if you start now. You can also supplement your current income if you still have a job, or start earning some income if you don't. And then when you come here, you hit the ground running with your income stream already intact. And if you want to start a business when you get here, you can do a lot of the legwork and research before you get here. And a lot of the businesses, like for the links that we have in our blog, you can contact these people. A lot of them will be really forthcoming with information about what they went through to start their business.
Absolutely.
And what it took, how much it costs, how to market. I mean, a lot of entrepreneurs really enjoy helping other aspiring entrepreneurs. Like Amelia said earlier, if you have any other ideas for online work or working remotely that we haven't talked about here or that you do, leave those in the comments and we'll add those into our blog post.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We'd like to hear more from you all about what you guys see out there in the world. Your viewpoint compared to ours.
Yeah, and if you liked our video, leave us a thumbs up.
Yes, please.
And please share it with your friends if they're looking for ways to make more money online or if they want to work remotely.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think we're done for today. It's a long video.
Yes, we like to talk.
We are talkers.
Although you talked more in this one.
Yeah,
but that's okay.
This is my field.
It is.
Amelia's been an employee. I've been an entrepreneur most of my whole life. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll see you in the next video.
Ciao.
Ciao.